In this video, we're going to be going over the top 10 expensive preps that hurt to buy but are worth it. Oftentimes in the prepping community, we're always looking for budget deals for various preps, but there are a few preps that cost a lot of money to get. And sometimes when you buy them, it doesn't end up being worth it. It was a waste of money, but other times it was totally worth it. So in this video, we're going to be going over the top 10 expensive preps that was totally worth it. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Cliff, also known as the Urban Prepper, and on this channel we focus on the topic of urban emergency preparedness. Now, most of the items in this list I do own. There are a few that I don't own, but they're on my wish list based off of the great reviews that I've read about them so far. Now, to keep this list within reason, I'm going to avoid things like a bug out location or a cabin or an underground bunker or a bug out vehicle. Those things could cost tens of thousands of dollars. Let's keep it within the $300 to $5,000 range. At number 1, we have the Big Berkey gravity-fed water filtration system. This costs between $300 to $400, and it's the go-to water filtration system for most preppers.
You could keep it right on your kitchen countertop for daily use, or store it away for emergencies. Either way, it's ready to provide safe drinking water from almost any source. When we set ours up, my family actually preferred the taste of the water from the Berkey over the filtered water from our refrigerator. You could even customize it with additional filters to remove fluoride, arsenic, and other contaminants. It's one of those preps that costs a little bit up front, but once you have it, you'll use it consistently. Whether it's on your countertop or sitting in storage waiting for an emergency, the Big Berkey is a prep you'll never regret buying.
If you were going to buy any of the items out of this list, get the Big Berkey water system. At number 2, we have the All-American pressure canner.
The All-American canner is basically the Rolls-Royce of pressure canners. It's one of those rare tools that's built to last a lifetime, something you'll probably end up passing down to your kids someday. These typically cost around $400 to up to $600, which is definitely a step up from the entry-level canners. But once you feel one, the craftsmanship speaks for itself. If you have a home garden, you're going to want to start canning for your harvest. A pressure canner is a mandatory item for preppers and homesteaders because it lets you safely preserve meats, soups, and vegetables for long-term storage. For years, my wife used the more affordable Presto canners, which work fine, but the All-American canner is in a completely different league. It's made of heavy-duty cast aluminum, has a metal-to-metal seal, and doesn't rely on gaskets that wear out over time. Again, this is the Rolls-Royce of pressure canners. If you could afford it, it's one of those expensive preps that's worth every penny and will probably outlive you.
At number 3, we have the Country Living hand grain mill. I don't own this particular item, but it's been on my Amazon wish list for years now, and I plan on getting it someday.
The price tag is steep, usually around $700 to $800, but this is a true generational item. Once you buy it, you'll probably pass it down to your kids, and they'll pass it down to your grandkids. And often called the best hand grain mill on the market. Homesteaders and preppers consistently give it top reviews, and for good reason. If you're storing wheat as a long-term food prep, sealed in 5-gallon buckets with mylar and oxygen absorbers, you'll need a reliable way to turn the wheat into flour. I have a more inexpensive mill right now, and while it may get me by in a pinch, I don't think it would stand the test of time like this one would. The Country Living mill is built with industrial, dual-sealed ball bearings and heavy-duty components designed for generations of use. This is the same type of tool our forefathers relied on to make wheat from their harvest, and it's still just as practical today. It's the kind of prep you'll only have to buy once, built smart for tough times, and made to last a lifetime.
At number 4, I have a high-quality, fireproof, and theft-resistant safe.
A high-quality safe is one of those preps that I think every household should have, but it's easy to put off because of the cost and the size. I currently own a few smaller office-style safes, but a full-size, high-quality safe from a reputable brand, ideally made here in the US or from another trusted manufacturer, is high on my long-term wish list. These aren't something you buy if you plan on moving anytime soon. They're heavy, and once they're in place, they're staying there. But that's also the point. They're meant for your long-term home, the place where you'll be keeping things that really matter. A good safe protects your important documents, preparedness gear, cash, firearms, and family valuables from both fire and theft. It's not the most glamorous prep, but it's one of the most responsible.
At number 5, this one's more for camping and for overlanding, but that's a portable refrigerator-freezer combo.
Not everyone might agree that a portable refrigerator or freezer belongs on a list like this, but if you're into camping, overlanding, or road trips, this is one of those preps you'll be glad to have. These typically cost around $800 to up to $1,500, depending on the size and the brand. And while that's a lot for something that looks like a cooler, it's a completely different experience once you use one. I recently reviewed the Iceco APL55, and it really showed me how practical these things could be. They run quietly, keep a consistent temperature, and can operate off DC power. which is great when you're using a portable power station. If you plug it into DC instead of AC, you'll get a much longer runtime between charges. They're great for everyday uses like camping, tailgating, and road trips, but also for emergency situations like long-term power outages or bug-out scenarios. You could safely store food, baby formula, or medication without worrying about ice melting or food spoiling. This is kind of one of those bougie preps that you may want more than you need, but once you own one, you'll find plenty of uses for it.
The number 6 expensive prep that's totally worth it is a gas power generator.
A gas power generator is often one of the first big purchases preppers make, and for good reason. When the power goes out, this is what keeps your lights on, your fridge running, and your family comfortable. Generators range in price depending on size and brand, but most inverter models fall between $1,000 and up to $2,500. I've done dedicated videos on power outage preparedness and generator setups, and personally, I prefer Honda generators because of their reliability, quiet operation, and overall build quality. They're expensive, but they have a great reputation for a reason. That said, a lot of people go with the more affordable Predator line from Harbor Freight, which performs surprisingly well for about half the cost. Either way, a gas power generator is one of the most dependable tools you could own for power outages. They're easy to refuel as long as you have access to gasoline, propane, or natural gas. You could get smaller portable units for running essential appliances or larger whole home models to power your entire home. This is one of those classic preps that just works. Simple, effective, and proven to make a blackout feel less stressful.
At number 7, I have a large solar power station, like the ones made by EcoFlow, Jackery, and other companies.
Solar power stations have become one of the most versatile and useful preps you could own. Brands like EcoFlow and Jackery have really changed the game with these, offering silent, rechargeable power that's perfect for everyday use and emergencies. Prices vary, but most large models run between $2,000 to $4,000. These are especially great for people who live in apartments or condos where running a gas generator might not be possible because of noise and local ordinances. They're completely silent, so you could run them at night without anyone knowing, and they're ideal for anyone who prefers a more discreet or stealth power setup. They're designed to pair with solar panels, so you could recharge them over and over again during a long-term power outage. This makes them a great long-term energy solution. I believe that every prepper should have both a gas power generator and a solar power station, because together they give you flexibility, redundancy, and peace of mind no matter where you live.
To go along with that generator and the power station, at number 8, I have a whole home transfer switch and installation.
For a long time, I held out on getting a home transfer switch. I figured running a few extension cords during a power outage was good enough. But once I finally decided to make the investment, I couldn't believe how much better it made our whole setup. It completely changes how prepared you feel for an extended outage. A professional installation usually runs about $1,000 to $1,500, including the hardware and electrician's labor. Once installed, you could safely connect your gas power generator or even a large solar power station directly to your home's electrical system. It lets you power your refrigerator, lights, and essential appliances with a simple flip of a switch. But overall, this is one of the smartest upgrades you can make to your home. It's clean, safe, and incredibly convenient. For preppers especially, it's an investment that makes your backup power plan feel complete.
At number 9, I have a freeze dryer, like the ones made by Harvest Right, which you can pick up at Costco.
The Harvest Right freeze dryer has been on my radar for years. I've held off on getting one, but after watching a ton of Canadian prepper videos and seeing my brother-in-law get one from Costco, it's officially on my short list. My kids have been absolutely loving the freeze-dried fruit that he's been bringing over, and now my wife has given me the green light to finally get one when we can. This is next-level food preservation. It goes way beyond canning. You could freeze-dry full meals, soups, milk, fruits, vegetables, and all the staples preppers love to keep in their emergency stash. What makes it so appealing is its flexibility. Instead of buying overpriced number 10 cans of freeze-dried food from companies that mark it up like crazy, you can make your own long-term food storage for a fraction of the cost. Prices have come down quite a bit over the years, with smaller Harvest Right models now starting under $1,500, making them more accessible for average families. I'm hoping to pick one up in the next few months and finally join the freeze-drying crowd. It's one of those big purchases that feels expensive up front, but once you have it, it completely changes how you think about food storage.
And at number 10, the expensive prep that's totally worth it. This one's been on my shopping list for a while. It's the Russian Bear tent that has the optional wood stove.
The Russian Bear tent has been on my wish list for a long time. I first saw it featured on Canadian Prepper's channel, and it immediately stood out to me as one of the most impressive extreme weather tents on the market. The reviews are incredible, and while it's expensive, the build quality makes it worth every penny. This tent is built for harsh conditions. It's insulated, durable, and can handle freezing temperatures with ease. What makes it special is the optional wood stove setup. That addition turns it from just a tent into a portable cabin you could heat, cook in, and comfortably live out of for extended periods. If I ever had to bug out and didn't have a permanent location, this is exactly what I'd want. It's heavy and pricey, but for those who could afford it, the Russian Bear tent is about as close as you could get for an off-grid fortress in tent form.
That's going to do it for this video featuring my top 10 list of expensive preps that hurt to buy but are totally worth it. I hope they enjoyed watching it. Of course, with prepping, we should always strive to be budget conscious and only purchase the things that we can afford. But there are certain items that are just super expensive and there's no way of getting around it. So hopefully when you do purchase one of those items that you got the right item and it was totally worth it. But I imagine that you have probably some alternative items that you would include in your list, maybe a thermal monocular or a satellite radio. So leave your comments below in the comments section regarding this video topic, and stay tuned for more urban emergency preparedness videos. See you next time.